Hey, hey, hey. Happy Monday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com. What a coincidence. So welcome aboard. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out what normally takes place during the dispatch. I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then I share an unboxing and a first look at a board game or card game, or I do a page through and first look at a role-playing game book. So tonight, I am actually going to unbox and take a first look at Tawantinsuyu. I'm hoping I'm close on that pronunciation. Which is from Board and Dice. It is the Inca Empire. So looks pretty interesting, and it's actually an extremely I don't want to say it's super hefty, but there is some heft to this game box, so it is not going to be full of air, I can tell you that. So if you're a first-time visitor, just kick back, relax, put your feet up. We're not practicing rocket surgery here by any stretch of the imagination. Just talking about tabletop gaming. But if you are someone who watches all the time, a long-time viewer, thank you very much for once again taking time out of your busy life to hang around and listen to this knucklehead pontificate. So I really do appreciate it. Welcome aboard. Anyway, do want to mention, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the dispatch airs live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Dungeons and Dragons Candlekeep Mysteries. Ooh. That is my most recent upload. So I do also want to point out that you have an opportunity to win this copy of the alternate art edition of Candlekeep Mysteries. You do have to check out my review video to find out how you can get in the running. You want to do that by March 28th, because that next day is a Monday, the 29th, and I will reveal the winner live right here on the show. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, this is a live stream, so that means if you are watching live, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, or maybe you got a question, comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So Gary Clarkson was hanging out ahead of time again. Geez, Gary, you don't even have anything better to do? God. Nah, I think it was like 6 minutes early today. Because the funny thing is, I already have the chat window up. So when I'm working on stuff. In fact, I was just finishing rendering a video. In fact, it's the latest episode of So You Want to Be a Game Master? And it was just at the end of rendering when 7 o'clock rolled around, and I'm like, oh no! Like, oh, I know I got enough processing power to be able to do both this stream and to be rendering the video. But you never know. So hopefully like the first 60 seconds of this stream isn't like all choppy and terrible. I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Anyway, so we've got Gary, we've got Flaming Huron is in chat. Sarah of Yellowcrest Manor is here, popping out on board. I know, yes, usually Sarah just kind of lurks. So wait a second, why is Sarah of Yellowcrest Manor jumping in? Isn't that like a role-playing adventure or something? I'm trying to remember. There's something about that. Sarah of Yellowcrest Manor. So, all right. So we've got Clint Gibson is with us as well. So I got the week off and running. See what we got cooking. So let's jump on into the news. I've got a good amount of news items for us tonight. Make a quick adjustment here. There we go. So arriving at the end of this month from Pythagoras or Pythagoras. I always screw up how you pronounce that. Pythagoras is how I think it is. I don't know. Oh my gosh, yes, Sarah's right. It's from Candlekeep. Yes, it's one of the adventures. No wonder there's 17 of them. So it's like, how am I supposed to remember them all? But yeah, I was like, wait a second. Hang on. Why is that like slapping me in the face and hey, what is that from? Anyway, coming at the end of the month is 6 castles. Here's the skinny. In the 12th century, during the territory reconquest, I believe it was also known as the Reconquista, small kingdoms are formed on the Iberian Peninsula, which will continue to fight among themselves in the following centuries. In the west, bordering the Atlantic Ocean, a new country is born, Portugal. The first Portuguese kings strongly invest their efforts and scarce resources in the expansion of the territory towards south, while organizing the defense of these new borders. Castles are built and land use contracts are given to small villages that grow bigger and gain more importance in these parts of the country. Where today exists the county of Idana Nova, I'm sure I mispronounced that, is aligned with 6 castles, which was formed to help the defense of the country and maintain distance from the Kingdom of Leon. This line of castles enabled the growth of a region that, since the time of the Roman presence, had an enormous importance in the interior of the peninsula. In 6 castles, 2 to 4 players are representatives of the king, seeking to promote agriculture, free trade, religious faith, and wealth for the nobles of the kingdom. When they say religious faith, I'm certain they mean Catholicism, because the Reconquista, or the reconquering of southern Spain. That was they were taking that land away from the Muslims. So when they talk about religious faith, I'm sure they mean Catholicism. Anyway, 6 castles is, once again, for 2 to 4 players. It's for ages 8 and up. Plays in 30 to 60 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $45 when it arrives. Could be kind of interesting. Little historical flavor to it. I know this is a Portuguese game company, so some of their releases tend, and they've got a few games out. Some of their releases tend to have kind of a Portuguese flavor to them. All right, moving right along. Coming this spring from Kolossal Games is Ruination. Here's what I know. The world ended so long ago that none remember its name. From its ashes rose the Kellinet, whose citadel guards the last aquifer. The immortal Khan commands that only the most worthy may drink from its waters. Thus the hordes ready themselves for battle. Win and lead your people onward. Die and be forgotten. Ruination is a 2 to 4 player area control and civilization game set in post-apocalyptic Eurasia. Using an innovative action system, players will gather resources to acquire advantages from the wreckage of the world before, bolster their armies with powerful exiles, and march across the wasteland to war. Only the strongest and most canny horde will rule beside the Khan in this new world. Khan! Echo, echo, echo. Ruination is for 2 to 4 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 1 to 2 hours. It's going to carry an MSRP of $90 when it arrives sometime in Q2. I have heard that it's possible it could be this month that it's hitting stores. I don't know. I only know it's spring. I took a look at some of the online retailers. They're not indicating any specific date either. They are still saying Q2. So we shall see. Up for pre-order over on the GMT Games P500 is Battles for the Shenandoah, a Death Valley expansion. Here's the deets. Battles for the Shenandoah, a Death Valley expansion, is the 9th installment of the Great Battles of the American Civil War series published by GMT Games. This includes 4 full battles. There's McDowell, May 8th, 1862. McDowell is considered the first battle of Stonewall Jackson's Valley campaign. There's Second Winchester, June 13, 14, and 15, 1863. Second Winchester is the battle that cleared the way for Robert E. Lee's Gettysburg campaign. And Winchester, they were fighting over that all the time. That changed hands constantly during the war. There's also Piedmont, which is June 5th, 1864, which was the first Union victory in the Valley since Kernstown in 1862. And then there's Cool Spring, July 18th, 1864. It's a battle in which Jubal Early's 1864 Valley campaign consisted of. I remember what is that quote? Early was late. That was Gettysburg. Wasn't that I'm pretty sure that's when first night after the first day battle at Gettysburg, Early showed up late. Otherwise, they would have been able to take the heights. The Great Battles of the American Civil War series is one of the hobby's longest-lived design concepts, springing from the legendary regimental-level Gettysburg game, Terrible Swift Sword, designed by Richard Berg in 1976. Under GMT Games, the rule system has remained stable, but has shown remarkable flexibility to allow each game to smoothly incorporate additional rules to reflect the historical battles. The series relies on interactive chit pull mechanics to simulate the oftentimes chaotic nature of the 19th century battlefield at the regimental level. The game itself contains 4 battles with multiple scenarios. Experienced players will be able to play many of the scenarios in one sitting. The game reflects the development of the cavalry and the changes in infantry and artillery organization and tactics from 1862 through 1864. Battles for the Shenandoah Valley, a Death Valley expansion, is for 2 players, ages 14 and up. These battles will play out in 2 hours or more. You can reserve a copy of this expansion. Keep in mind, this is an expansion, so you actually do need Death Valley, the core game, to be able to utilize this. You can reserve a copy right now at the P500 price of $22. There's an expected MSRP of $35 when there are enough orders in. I assume this is probably going to easily hit the 500 because I know a lot of people really do like the American Civil War series over at GMT Games. So keep an eye peeled. So Gary Clarkson was saying that they're really not a big fan of post-apocalyptic games as far as Ruination, but like the way it looks. Yeah, I thought I'd share the info about it. Looks like it could be kind of cool. Don't know. All right, let's move on to some role-playing game news because there is a new Uber's Like adventure, which is derived from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Here's the skinny on Gray Mountain Gold. Like most cities in the Empire, Ubersreich is home to a tight-knit community of dwarfs. Many of these dwarfs used to live within the holds of the Gray Mountains, but now a number of the fortresses lie forgotten and abandoned, overrun by goblins, and worse. Terrific tales are told of the vast treasures that can be won by adventurous folk willing to plumb the depths of the lost holds. When a dwarf named Belbasson, it's kind of a mouthful, boasts that he possesses the only map to the lost dwarf treasures, he soon attracts a number of enterprising folk who anticipate a golden opportunity. But Ubersreich's dwarfs do not look kindly on those who would rob them of what is rightfully theirs. Ooh, got some faction action going. Gray Mountain Gold is a gripping adventure by Macdara MacDonagh. It describes the trouble that might arise from a hastily planned expedition to recover loot from the lost holds of the dwarfs. It's also a cautionary tale to remind folk not to mess with the dwarves or those who might seek to acquire their treasures. It's set in Ubersreich, but it can be relocated to any suitably large settlement in the Empire within striking distance of mountains. The 16-page PDF is available over at Drive-Thru RPG for $4.99. Always like to see new Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay adventures pop up. Cubicle 7, for the vast majority of the time, these adventures are pretty good. And they're never just big waves and waves of combat. There's always something going on. That's why I don't honestly think there are tons of people who play Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay where it's just combat. Because for one, the combat is very deadly. And you could actually have your player characters get killed. You know, they can get one-shotted pretty easily with a critical hit. And if the critical, hit roll is high enough. So always different ways for you to approach various different dilemmas. Always like that. All right, my final news piece, now available in print and PDF from Gulf Road Games, is The Bone Age. Here's the scoop. The ape turtles didn't plan on 3 flying saucers crashing into the planet. The Bone Age is an old-school role-playing game of Neolithic-era tribes struggling against the sudden arrival of bug-eyed aliens. You play a Tzarian, a tribe of jungle-dwelling, vine-swinging, pterodactyl-riding, bone-wielding savages. Or a Crunch, giant crab-riding, cave-dwelling, living in mountains bordering the jungle. Radiation leaked from the invaders' crashed flying saucers, and it spreads on winds of purple, blue, and white, mutating the land and its inhabitants. Meanwhile, a race of turtle apes and ape turtles sleeping in stasis beneath the surface awoke 1 million years later than planned, and they were not impressed by the native population. Or the alien isn't based on a specific OSR system, but comparisons can be drawn to Swords and Wizardry, Labyrinth Lord, Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and Dungeon Crawl Classics. The base mechanic uses a D20, where higher rolls are better than low rolls, and works in a similar fashion to the way saving throws and attacks work in Labyrinth Lord. Thus, an ability might be expressed as 12 plus, meaning you want to roll a 12 or higher on a 20-sided die. Placing the target number in the hands of the players means they get the thrill of shouting, "My attack hits!" or the agony of lamenting, "I failed my mutation roll," as opposed to the game master setting a secret difficulty class. The Bone Age uses a class and level system, with levels maxing out at 10. While most of the game mechanics in the Bone Age will seem familiar, there are some things that stand out in contrast to many other games. The most important is the concept of attunement. The land of the Bone Age, called Calcentia, is itself a living entity, and the creatures that inhabit it can develop a spiritual connection to various geographic regions. These regions are represented by hexes on a map. If you're attuned to a hex, you function more effectively in it. You can attempt to attune to new regions, but you risk the wrath of the land if you offend it. Rock slides, earthquakes, and floods are just some of the signs that you have angered the planet. The land is brutally hot. The north is dry. The south is humid. Many regions see rain only once per solar cycle. Some bullet points of interest, with the exception of the PCs and NPCs, the Bone Age harbors no Terran life forms. No horses, no dogs, no bumblebees, no bats, no platypuses. The methods necessary to create metal have not been discovered. The bones of ancient creatures litter the landscape. Bone is thus a resource used for a variety of tools, including weapons. 3 alien ships crashed on the planet 1 solar cycle ago. Radiation leaks from those ships continue to be carried by the wind, infecting the land and its inhabitants with horrible mutations. The aliens are collectively called the Invaders. Advanced technology has been pilfered from invader ships and invader dead. Wise men and women have attempted to understand the strange items to varying degrees of success. Player characters will discover invader tech in various states of repair, and use of these items can be unpredictable, wondrous, and dangerous. The Bone Age is available right now as a 142-page hardcover, which includes the PDF, through DriveThruRPG for $24.99. You can snag the PDF alone for $10. Nice. This sounds kind of cool. I gotta say, the setting sounds pretty interesting. Sort of along the lines of, now I gotta remember. And the funny thing is, I almost never talk about Palladium for specific reasons. But there was the one game they came out with years and years ago, and it was actually little digest-sized books, and it was about these like, alien invaders in that. The Mechanoids. Almost positive that that's what it was called. It was actually really interesting. Unfortunately, their role-playing system just gets crazy. It's like, gets to the point where it's just so much power creep, it's nuts. All right, so Nicholas Stanoshek is joining us once again. A Great A has made it to chat. Jeff Moore is joining us. Hi, Jeff. I believe this might be a first-time visit for you. So kick back, relax, make yourself at home, make a sandwich, grab something to drink. I'm going to grab something to drink. So that is the news for today. As I was just mentioning, the Bone Age is available over at DriveThruRPG. Keep in mind, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go visit, say, I don't know, DriveThruRPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. All right, very, very cool. Wow, shot through the news pretty quick tonight. So I always try to do a little, about 30 minutes, right? But yeah, only 24 minutes, zipped on through. So Gary Clarkson says, Palladium Games, I did like Beyond the Supernatural. I remember checking that out long time ago. Long time ago. Thing about Palladium, it's just the shenanigans that the owner pulls off, and the nonsense with that Robotech Kickstarter that people still haven't gotten their stuff for, and stuff that they did get was junk, and just, yeah. That's why I just kind of, no thanks. Now, like, I'll talk about like riffs for Savage Worlds, because it's for Savage Worlds, and kind of an interesting setting. Just like I think Torg Eternity, and well, original Torg are pretty cool. Kind of like Rift's is a little bit. So Gary says, yeah, they agree with me. Yeah, not too cool. Not too cool. All right. So I am going to jump into Tawantinsuyu in just a moment. But did want to mention that my review for Dungeons & Dragons Candlekeep Mysteries is up over on the website, of course. Ta-da. Of course, you can check out my video review where I share what I think of it. And of course, you can also get in the running to win my copy of the alternate art edition of Candlekeep Mysteries. Got to watch the video. I'll tell you how to get involved in it. And it's not at the end of the video either. So, and I will ban anybody. I even say it in the video. I will block anybody who like puts like a timestamp of when I talk about the contest. So takes them out of the running of winning. All right. So what else is cooking this week on the dispatch? So tomorrow I'm going to unbox and take a first look at Quetzal, which is from GMT Games and being released in the U.S. through Hachette Games. So that is going to be on tomorrow's show. So Grady says, I heard Jeff say it. Then, I'm going to move that. Otherwise, it's going to be in the way for the unboxing. On Wednesday, it's War Game Wednesday, but we're going to be taking a look at a small game. This is Scope Stalingrad from Draco Ideas. This is a 2-player card game that simulates the sniper war in Stalingrad during World War II. So if you have watched Enemy at the Gates, you know what that's all about. Then on Thursday's show, we're going to take a quick peek at the Starfinder Alien Archive 4. So I am not going to go through a full page through, but we will take a look at some of the aliens. I haven't cracked this open. So when I say we're doing a page through, we're doing unboxing, things like that, it's all fresh to me too. It's all brand new to me too. So a Grade A is asking about Deluxe Malta. That's tomorrow's. I got it on tomorrow's news. It's already all set, all ready to go. So I have been trying to stay ahead of the game as far as having my news pieces and things like that already set up, all my little images, my graphics and things like that. Try to have that done the night before. So here's something weird. And I'll mention this more in detail on tomorrow's show. But we're talking about Malta Besieged 1940 to 1942, which is a deluxe edition. It's up on Kickstarter for Worthington Publishing. And it is a remake or a revamp of that Scorpion of the Sea, Malta Besieged 1940 to 1942, which came out from Victory Point Games, designed by Steve Carey. And I really did like it. I reviewed it when it came out. Steve Carey's, he did 2 games, if I remember right, for Victory Point Games. We Must Tell the Emperor and that Scorpion of the Sea. Now they've dropped that out of the title. So it's just Malta Besieged 1940 and 1942. What I find really weird, and Worthington has done this with their other Kickstarters that they've done for games that were previously from Victory Point Games, including In Magnificent Style from my pal Herman Lutman. They don't use the reviews. I mean, they link to reviews from like people at Board Game Geek, but here they've got an outlet who at the time was one of the only outlets that even looked at Victory Point Games. And they don't use the reviews. I even said to them, I shot them a message when they were doing In Magnificent Style. And I said, hey, if you want to use the review, by all means, because I gave it a good score. I enjoyed it. I don't know. the people over at Worthington seem like they're very nice. They just don't seem to have their finger on the pulse of how to market stuff right. So I just like one of the things I'll talk about on tomorrow's show is the deluxe edition for Malta Besieged is it's going to carry an MSRP of $75. The original game was like 25. And I mean, I get, change, just like I've got the review coming for In Magnificent Style, but that's actually also kind of an issue I've got with that is a $75 price tag is pretty high. So a Grade A says Worthington is a super small team. So is the gaming gang. But you at least see me tweet stuff out. Ha ha ha. A Grade A says they keep stock in a backyard shed. Flying Buffalo did that. I almost said Buffalo. Flying Buffalo Games. Rick Loomis did that. He kept all his stock in his garage. So, and he lived in Scottsdale, Arizona. Because I remember, I've mentioned this a couple of times before. I kept thinking about doing an interview with him when I lived in Arizona, because I lived in the Phoenix Valley too. And never got around to doing it. And the thing is, I really like Tunnels and Trolls. I think Tunnels and Trolls is a game system that doesn't get enough love. I know it's super popular in Japan. That's kind of what. So is Call of Cthulhu. I found that out the other day. Now, I knew it was popular, but I heard it's like super popular. It's like the top selling role-playing game in Japan is Call of Cthulhu, which I'm like, that's cool with me. Because I like my pals over at Chaosium Inc. And I have been a fan of Call of Cthulhu forever. I've only been running it about 40 years now. All right, so let's swing on over to the, not swing on to over to the other camera yet. But I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at Tawantinsuyu, the Inca Empire, which is from Board and Dice. Get ready. I'm going to mispronounce all these people's names, so I do apologize right up front. But the game is designed by David Turksey with art by Jacob Fashtanowski, Jacob Scope, and Zygmunt Umgelter. I don't know. I'm trying, folks. The game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in 1 to 2 hours and does carry an MSRP of $60. Gary Clarkson says, yeah, Worthington Publishing games are expensive too. I cut slack for war games because it's such a small niche. So companies, they need to a lot of times charge a little bit more to stay in business. So anyway, but let's swing on over to the other camera because ka-ching, there we go. So there's a solitaire mode in this as well that I see. So let's flip this on over. I'll show you the back real quick. And then we will crack on into this. I could read stuff that's on the back, but basically I would just be mispronouncing all these Incan words. So Grade A says, isn't there some marketing rule about making games with hard to pronounce names? Yes, I believe there is. But this was the title of the Incan Empire. That is what they called that region. So I guess we got to go with that. All right. So I'm going to get the shrink wrap off of here. And as I had mentioned earlier, this box has some heft to it. So when I open this up, it is not going to be just a bunch of air. So we're going to take a peek at what we've got inside here. So I believe each of the players is going to be attempting to kind of rule the empire, because I believe you're able to take over various different villages or recruit people from villages and things like that. So a grade A says Inca Empire was already taken as far as a game name because they have that game. All right, so we've got a bunch of meeples and stuff like that. We'll take a closer look at that. Got a draw bag here. Got a 6-sided die. Got a rule book. Some cards. Looks like we got some player aids. And we got a bunch of punch boards and stuff. So first thing, let's take a look. Let's take a peek at the rule book. So Doug Roberts is here. Did I say hello to you, Doug? Because I saw you pop in. I could have swore I said hello. In case I didn't. So Doug says they noticed that they made it with a solo mode. That's so no one will hear you butcher the names. Yes, probably. So we got we've got the game board. We've got different tiles. We have production buildings, weavings, different statues. We've got different resources. So we've got the different meeples are different workers. So we've got architects, couriers, craftsmen, priests, and warriors. Where's our sacrifices? Doug says, yes, I just said hello to him now. See, I always try to, it's weird as it sounds. And I'm sure there are a lot of streamers out there who don't say hello to everybody who pops in, but I try to. I was just raised that way. All right. So then we got some high priests. We got scoring markers, step markers. I get the impression there's a lot going on in this game. All right. So we got the setup, talking about the setup here. So it looks like we've got 3 pages. Okay. So we got 3 pages devoted to setting up. So we've got a breakdown of 1 turn of play. So on your turn, you must choose one of the following 2 options. Place a worker or perform 2 different secondary actions in any order. So it says you have to have a god card or 1 gold to place a worker from your supply on the game board. The secondary actions are moving a high priest, praying, training, or recruiting. So here we have placing a worker. And I think what you're doing is you're placing workers along the various steps of almost like a step pyramid. I know it's not going to be a visual 3D step pyramid, but that's what the game board kind of looks like. So we're talking about special abilities of each of the workers, different tasks. Ah, here's your 2 secondary actions. So I guess all of this was basically talking about if you place a worker. Yeah. All right. Quite a bit going on in this game, I can see. Then we got the performing 2 secondary actions. So got the high priest. So grade A saying worker placement. Yeah, that's what it looks like this is. Recruiting. I'm going to take a guess. We're probably looking at some area control, some worker placement, maybe some set collecting as far as the cards. So we got the end of the game and final scoring. So we have various different ways for the players to score victory points. Got some additional rules. Talking about the different buildings. Different symbols, the icons. Aha, and then we got the solitaire rules. So it looks like you are playing against an AI. All right. So the solo rules. There's about as many pages of rules here as you would see in a lot of Euro games. So grade A saying card drafting. I don't know. I have no idea. So that is the rule book. Let's take a look at. Got the player aids. Oh, these are actually real nice card stock on those too. All right. And we'll zoom in. We'll get a better look at some of this stuff. In fact, you know what? Might as well do that right now. Just zoom in a little bit. Won't get crazy. All right. So give the camera went into focus. There's cool. So that's one of the things that I always have to kind of keep an eye out for, especially when I'm doing these live first looks, is that the camera's not out of focus. So look, but we look like we're in pretty good shape here. So we've got 4 player aids. So we have the turn structure talking about the different workers, different tasks, the high priest secondary actions, festivals, talking about the cost of placing a worker, passive abilities, and the end game. And then, okay, so this is the AI. This is the AI card. So if you're going to play solo, so you're going to utilize this for the AI. That's cool. Nice. Is that on all of them? Yep, they're all like that. So we've got 4 of the player aids. So we've got a punch board here with the basically this is what the board represents. Now I'm not sure what this is, but you'll see that we've got that same pentagon shape on the board. So we must track something here on this. All right, so I'm going to save the cards for last. So we've got some little gems there. So that's one of the resources, no doubt. All right, see what else we've got in these. Got a bunch of different stuff. So I think this was stone. I think we saw that this is a stone resource. I believe these are scoring discs or like tracking discs. So here we have the workers, the various different types of workers. So we got warriors, we got priests, we've got couriers. So we've got steps here. I have no clue what that's supposed to do, but I'd assume we probably have to place something like this on the board to show that we can move up to the next level. I don't know. So, all right. So I assume this is more resources here, maybe wood. I got to admit, these look pretty cool. These look like little yellow shields. Or no, I'm sorry. It's corn. There you go. So it's food. So that is no doubt one of the resources there is food. Maybe these discs were for scoring. And then it looked like these are high priests. So I think we have priests and then we have high priests. Well, I got to admit, I definitely like these meeples. So a Great A says this is designed by the same guy who designed Dice Settlers. Never played Dice Settlers. Okay, so here we've got a bunch of punch boards. 3 or 4, looks like. Looks like we got 4. So I think some of these are different buildings that allow us to do different things. I don't know. I mean, it's all different stuff, right? So it's almost like take any worker to turn it into a yellow worker, any worker, turn it into a white worker. And they are dual-sided, and I'm going to take a guess that these are all going to be random. These are going to come out randomly, so you may not have the same exact things going on. So it looks like these are, yep, that sure enough, that was corn. Those look like potatoes. Maybe they are potatoes. I don't know. I mean, if you had corn, why would you have potatoes in it too? All right. Oh, yeah, it looks like we've got some little tokens there as well. Oh, this is cool. We got some statues. Got the different statues here. And as you can see, they all have different symbols on them. So I think the timing, they're also working, I think, on tapestries, completing tapestries. And once a certain number of those, I think that's what actually triggers the end game scoring. So we got those. And then these, I'm guessing these are probably the tapestries. Let's see what's on the back of these. Yep, dual-sided on these. So they're both the same. Take a guess, these are also the same? No. So it looks like these are random as well. That's kind of cool. Nice thick cardstock too, I have to point out. All right, then we've got the board. All right, trying to put some of this stuff off to the side here. Without everything just flying off. There we go. Looks like this is a pretty good sized board, so I don't think I'm going to get this all in one shot. No way, not even close. So while I'm still zoomed in, let's take a look at these cards. All right, so are we actually going to be able to get this open with the little tab here? Yes. Sweet. Usually I have just a hell of a time trying to get these. All right, so we've got 2 decks. Looks like it. So I think these are God cards here. I think that's what these are. I think these are the God cards. Because as we saw in the rules, it says you have to discard a God card to place a worker. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so these are all... I was going to say they're not all the same, but... So we had those all had corn. These have what, like I said, they look like those, they look like potatoes. These look like these are some sort of symbol there. There's only 3 of those. I wonder if these are just kind of like random sort of resources here. You play one of these cards to get that resource. Okay, so we got those. So Doug says that he likes the art. Yeah, the artwork's pretty cool. Component quality so far is really nice. I do have to point out it's kind of a cheesy 6-sided die. It's it looks like it's laser printed on there. So I mean that to me that's the only thing I'm like kind of like eh. But then again, it's just 6-sided die. All right, let's see what we got here. So we've got some different symbols. These are from those statues. These symbols match those statues. So these are all different. Cool. And cardstock's pretty nice. So they actually do have a bit of a linen finish to them too. So for a $60 game, we've got some pretty good component quality in here. And because I mean, let's be honest, because we see it all the time. We see like $80 games. You're kind of like, really? $80? This looks like you're getting your money's worth, especially with all the various different little meeples and tokens and discs and resources, custom cut. All right, so we've got those 2. All right, so I'm going to zoom back out a little more so we can get a better look at this board, but I'm not going to be able to get this whole board in to the one shot. I'll tell you that right now, because this board is pretty big. All right, so as you can see, it's 3 panels long. So here's this portion here. Now, as I had mentioned before, this is like a pentagon shape. So we have all these various different symbols here. So I'm curious, if you place your worker on one of these symbols, is that what you get? Or do you need to be able to have this before you can place a worker here? So we also have this track over here. Looks like we got our victory point track running along the edges of this. So let's open this up a little bit more up top. I mean, the game board's not huge. I mean, you can easily fit it on just about most like dining tables and things like that. So it's not a board that's like that crazy size. Let's open this all the way up. I'll show you what I meant by that pentagon. See, there you go. So from the top all the way down. And then it looks like all around the board, we've got various different, looks like this is something to kind of, almost like a guide. This looks pretty cool. Like I said, it looks like there's a lot going on in this. So very nice. Very nice. So thankfully, most of the gang is getting vaccinated. So we should get some gaming in one of these days. So, all right. So we've got the board. We've got the various punch boards here. We've got the player aids. These player aids are really nice. And they've got a little bit of a finish on those as well. Everything looks like it would hold up to multiple plays really nicely, I got to say. So we've got those. We got all the various different tokens and resources and meeples. We have another pentagon punch board. And then we've got the deck of cards. Do I have a... Yes, I do have a handy baggie. Is this going to be big enough to slide them all into? Yes. There we go. We've got the two different decks of cards there as well. And the rule book. And that is what we find when we take Tawantinsuyu outside the box. So hopefully I will have a review of this in the very near future. But this looks pretty impressive. This looks very interesting. So I'm very curious. My curiosity is definitely piqued. That is for sure. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera. So there you have it. Once again, this game is from Board and Dice. It's for 2 to 4 players. There are solo rules in it, though, we saw. And it's for ages 14 and up. Plays in about 1 to 2 hours. And it does carry an MSRP of $60. Sweet. All right. So we still got a couple of minutes. If there's anything going on out there in chat. So do want to point out that tomorrow I will be uploading my latest episode of So You Want to Be a Game Master, where I share some tips for game masters at the table. And I've got a lot of them. So there'll be a few videos that I talk about different things at the table. So didn't really get much done this weekend. In fact, I didn't shoot any video except for the review of Candlekeep Mysteries. And it was because we were doing some work on trying to fix the snowblower. Trying to tool some parts for it. Machine some parts for it. And that's down here in the Duct Tape Studios. So the work area is right nearby. So we were using drills and stuff like that. So anyway, don't forget, tomorrow I will be unboxing and taking a first look at Quetzal, which is from GMT Games and Hachette Games here in North America. This is another one that looks pretty cool. So we had the Incas, and I think this is actually the Aztecs. So we will find it. We're just doing some Mesoamerica stuff, huh? So this, let's see. Doesn't say. Just says Quetzal, the city of sacred birds, has been discovered. So this has some pretty impressive artwork on this as well. So nice, very cool. So stay tuned for that. That'll be tomorrow. And of course, on Wednesday, we're going to take a peek at Scope. That'll be pretty quick. Scope Stalingrad from Draco Games. And then on Thursday, we're going to take a peek at the Alien Archive 4 for Starfinder from Paizo Inc. All right, that's it for this time out. Once again, if you like this video, by all means, please give the video a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Monday through Thursday nights, right here on YouTube, but it'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Dungeons & Dragons, Candlekeep Mysteries from Wizards of the Coast. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Those of you out there who's hanging out with me live tonight, thank you very much. Always appreciate you taking some time out from your busy lives to watch this goofball. Just rambling on, sometimes incoherently, sometimes coherently, but sometimes incoherently. Of course, I know there are folks out there who don't have an opportunity to watch live. Regardless of when you watch, thank you very much. Always appreciate that as well. So I will be back tomorrow. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Monday night, Tuesday morning, or whatever day you happen to be watching this. And of course, as I wrap up all my videos during this never-ending pandemic, certainly hope all of you out there are being smart and staying safe. Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, if you haven't subscribed to the Gaming Gang channel yet, click right here. If you'd like to see the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, click right up there. And if you want to trust YouTube's algorithm to give you something to watch, click right there. Once again, thanks so much for watching. And everybody, please wear a mask.